I've always loved exploring the world. If I wasn't doing SuperWorld, I think I would probably want to figure out how to start a virtual world during like, you know what I mean? This is like what I would. You know, I think that like the world and society is really changing and transforming. The question that you're asking is a question that a lot of people are asking themselves.
So, thanks for joining today, Hrish.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's great to see you.
Super excited to do this. This is the first of the 50 lunches. So here's what's going to happen. It's going to be relatively controlled. We're going to talk for about an hour. First, I'm going to be curiously asking about you and your background and what you do today for a living. I'm trying to connect the dots.
Sure.
If I can find patterns that are inspiring. Then after about half an hour, we're going to flip the script. And we're going to talk about my favorite topic, me. And I'm going to be asking your advice for somebody like me. I'll be sharing my passions, my skills, and then we're going to brainstorm together trying to figure out what should I focus on, what should I learn, who should I meet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. So I'm going to start with a maybe simple question, and then we'll go deeper.
Okay.
In your words, Hrish, what do you do for a living today?
So I am the founder and CEO of SuperWorld. SuperWorld is a virtual world mapped onto Earth. You know, think of it as a Google map. You can personalize the world with anything you want. Content, you can sell services and experiences on your map. You can direct me to things, and I'm in your map in the real world. And so the way you can think of it is we're a platform for digital and physical experiences. We call it phygital content. And then the other interesting thing is we divided Earth into 64 billion blocks. Each block costs about $20 to buy. And if you buy a block, you're the owner of that location, and you earn there across advertising, e-commerce, digital commerce, data, gaming, real world assets, anything there across everyone's map, every filter of the world. And our focus, again, on the grand scale is how can we all of us together, build and own a decentralized virtual world that can positively impact Earth and humanity. So I always say the world needs SuperWorlds, like the world needs Superman or Superwoman. The world needs SuperWorlds. That's the vision.
I've actually tried it, and I know you're developing some features for me specifically, which I appreciate. So I'm going to put that link in the notes.
Awesome.
But let's go a little deeper, not so much on SuperWorld, but your role at SuperWorld. Like, what is it you actually do as the founder and the CEO?
You know, on the product side, very much involved in leading the product vision. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? And I gave you kind of the high level vision there. And, you know, kind of running the team as it relates to building and executing on product development. Business development, putting together partnerships, you know, the financing and fundraising aspects of what we do, working with investors, bringing in new investors, raising capital.
Okay. And out of those roles you play as a co-founder and CEO, which ones do you love the most, and which ones do you love the least?
You know, I really am a social person, communicative. I am very comfortable with expressing our vision, formulating the vision, and meeting with others that believe in our vision. I enjoy that quite a bit. So those are the areas of what we're doing that I enjoy, and it's very, I guess, complementary to my skill set and what I enjoy doing.
So to what degree do you feel like you're living your purpose with this job and this role?
I've always loved exploring the world and travel and getting to know new places. As you know, I'm a digital nomad with my family. We've been living around the world for a very long time, even way before I started SuperWorld. You know, I think that's been a driving force, a passion in my life. And, you know, SuperWorld is a very complementary product to that life, because what we're building is, you know, a way for people to get to know the world around them, experience it, monetize. We're kind of enabling people to interact and benefit from those interactions in the real world. And that's what I love doing. I love exploring the world, getting to know people and getting to know places. And
so you have this lifestyle that you love and enjoy, and it comes natural to you. And now you've been able to build a company on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So good match. I'm gonna force you to give me a number from 0 to 10. To what degree would you say this is your purpose in life?
This is getting up to the 10 number in terms of, you know, your rating scale, because of the fact that I'm so wide in terms of all the things that I'm interested in. I keep coming back to, wow, that is actually true, which is, if I wasn't doing SuperWorld, I think I would probably want to figure out how to start a virtual world. Like, you know what I mean? This is like what I think of it as like probably one of the coolest things that I could ever do.
Okay, so I'm really excited to see that you have a 10 here, because that's what I want to replicate in my life.
Yeah.
What are the steps that you've taken throughout your career? I'm not looking for your full CV, but like, what are the pivotal moments that got you from where you started to where you are today?
You know, I started off studying medicine. So I'm Indian. You know, a lot of my family members, my older brother's a doctor. So I'd kind of been exposed to it. And I used to take out eyes for transplant surgery in college.
Okay.
I had gotten a grant to do these different degrees from the National Institutes of Health. And I found out that I could do an MBA as part of that grant. And that took me into management consulting. And then I realized, you know what, business was something that I was very interested in. You know, also I was just interested in entrepreneurship. I was just naturally. So I kind of took this other path. I ended up working on Wall Street. I wanted to learn finance, and I thought, hey, if I'm going to do business, I got to, you know, go into investment banking. That took me into venture capital, working with companies and even early stage companies, which is kind of what I was interested in, learning how to start a company and be an entrepreneur. Worked for a well-known venture capitalist named Adam Stern. I learned a lot from him, and then that got me to, you know, kind of have this idea of wouldn't it be cool to go somewhere in the emerging markets and start a venture capital. I got on a plane, didn't know anyone. I went to Ukraine, Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Moldova, and ended up starting a venture capital fund in Ukraine. We invested in about 25 companies in that part of the world. Preply is one of them. They're pretty well known now. They're online tutoring marketplace. They just hit unicorn status last week. So very proud of that company. Yep. And then did the same thing in Belarus. One company that Facebook acquired started doing augmented reality. That's why they got acquired by Facebook. So I had early augmented reality kind of technology experience. Previous to SuperWorld, I co-founded Rogue Initiative Studios, which is a film, television, gaming, and immersive studio in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. My co-founder there produced Call of Duty, the game, Modern Warfare series, and Ghosts.
Okay, yeah.
And then my production partner is Michael Bay, the action director, is known for Transformers, The Island, Armageddon, big action movies.
Yeah.
What I learned from that is a Michael Bay movie like Transformers and Call of Duty, the game, are really the same thing. They're built in an engine, Unreal Engine, Unity Engine. You know, you can build anything you want in a gaming engine.
Yeah.
And what happened was about 10 years ago, there was a game called Pokemon Go that came out, which I'm sure you heard of. People were running around looking for these, you know, little digital Pokemon characters. And my co-founder and I, his name is Max Woon. When we saw Pokemon come out, we thought, you know what? Why does that have to be about Pokemon? Why can't that be about your favorite places to travel? Why can't that be about, you know, your favorite sports team or the not-for-profit you support? And that became the vision of SuperWorld, basically enabling you to create and discover and monetize content in real-world locations, enabling you to build a world. And that was, you know, like this big, massive idea that we kind of, you know, envisioned and kind of created together. So that was how that came about.
Yeah. You've had such an inspiring career, like so many different things that kind of led you to where you are now.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's just, you know, always followed my heart, and really, you know, I have a joy of learning and experiences, and, you know, kind of when I'm interested in something, I just kind of jump in and go for it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go even
Yeah.
further back. Like we
Sure.
did your CV and your career
Yeah.
now. Now I'm interested in the skills and the passions that
Mhm.
got you there.
Mhm.
So let's go all the way back to when you were 5.
Mhm.
You can even remember, right? What are the things you love doing as a 5-year-old?
You know, I very active. I was always playing outside.
Mm.
I'm a, big outdoor. I'm very social, so I'd always have a lot of friends. And I think it was probably like, tag and I don't know, all kinds of games like outside in school. Yeah.
Okay, so we're growing a little. Now you're 7, 8, 9, maybe.
Yeah.
What were some of your key interests that you started forming?
I was very academic, I would say, and, academically focused, probably coming from like an Indian household, being kind of the best or like studying. And
Are you competitive?
I think I enjoy the process and learning.
Mm.
All right. So I'm not, I have a balance to it, So, but I do enjoy competition. I enjoy working and being the best and focusing and trying to accomplish something. Very ambitious. I'm very passionate about things, and so if I'm into something, I'll try to, do it in a real way, and
Where did the
yeah.
interest for travel come from?
My father loved travel. He's from India, but he went to school in England, traveled quite a bit, and took us on trips. We had big maps and several rooms of my house. Yeah, I've always been super interested in it. I'd come back from a trip and I would think about what if why can't I be from that place, or I am from that. I felt a little bit of this like connection to places that we would go on a trip to and come back from. And
All right, so you said some of your key skills:
Yeah.
social, communicative, expressing vision. We've spoken about that. Your interest
Yeah.
as a kid,
Yeah.
very active, the outside world,
Sure.
learning, school, academic.
Yeah.
How would you say it all comes together with what you're doing now?
All very much connected to some of the things that, I probably did when I was a little kid. I've always been very interested in working with people and how do you kind of bring people together around a cause. As I think about myself as a child, I used to do that naturally. I would be the person that organized the whole like thing that we'd play. Like I don't know how this happened, but I was the person who like set up the game. And
The reason I'm laughing
Yeah.
is as a
Yeah.
kid, I would make
Yeah.
games.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
we'd be out playing tag,
Mhm.
and I would come up with a new version of tag, and we'd
Yeah.
go play that new game.
Awesome.
That's funny.
The
I don't even
Yeah.
remember the details, but I was
Okay.
always trying to
New version of
make
tag. Yeah.
things better.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. It all really comes together. It's like all about, people, conversations, learning. So it's all kind of connected, I would say.
Again, super inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
have a million
Thanks.
notes here, and I'm going to be coming back to this when I look for patterns across conversations.
Thank
But a lot of these things like hit a nerve.
Mhm.
I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you.
So now we're going to flip it up. I'm going to show you my Ikigai,
Mhm.
which is basically a one-page description of who I am, what I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
And then we're going to brainstorm a lot.
Cool. Very neat writing there.
Thank you.
It's nice. Yeah.
I love journaling. It's a process called bullet journaling.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
got this philosophy behind it.
Okay.
You can use it as a to-do list.
Uh-huh.
You can use it as, there we go, as a journal, just to journal stuff.
Mhm.
You can use it for projects, and it all kind of comes together. So I've been doing this for 7, 8 years now, and I have a bookshelf full of these. It
Amazing.
really helps me organize my thoughts.
Wow.
I've tried like every online app for this, like all
Yeah.
the to-do apps and the
Yeah.
productivity systems, but
Mhm.
they all feel a little too boxed in for me.
Mhm.
And I just love the flexibility of paper.
I do too. I unfortunately, being a digital nomad, I have to reduce. I go very digital, but
I mean, I worked at Google Cloud. I'm supposed to do everything in the cloud, but like I keep coming back to this. All right, so this is my Ikigai, and this is the easiest way I've found to explain who I am without giving you my whole life story and my CV. It's 4 circles. What you love, what you're great at, what the world needs, and eventually what you can get paid for. And when they overlap in the middle, if you get a little from each of them, you're going to be living your purpose and you're going to have a good life. Yeah. So I'll walk you through mine. And what I'm hoping is for you to kind of reflect on this and start seeing connections, right? If
Feel free to ask me any questions, stop me, and we'll take it from there.
Cool.
Okay, so what are the things I really love? It's 3 things I put up here. Right, I've always been a technology nerd. As a kid, when my friends were playing Nintendo, I would be sitting on my Amiga next to it and try to program the same game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right, loved it.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in leading edge technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's been part of my jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Bachelor's in computer science. I never actually programmed professionally, but a lot of my work has been in tech.
Yeah.
Creativity. I love drawing, playing music. I play guitar. Now my YouTube channel. So there's always been an element of creating something. I enjoy it just for the pure sense of creativity.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then personal development. You were talking about learning. I've always been interested. I've probably read every self-help book that's out there. I try to integrate it. I really enjoy that process of me growing, but also helping other people grow. I love to coach and mentor. We'll get to that later. So what are the things I'm great at? I have many years experience as a strategy consultant. So strategy and analysis is second nature to me. Those are probably skills that I've learned more than things that come natural. Coaching, mentoring, we've talked about that with personal development. But regardless of my job, whatever I've been doing, it's always been part of it. So when I have a team, I help people grow. I always try to have 2 mentors and 2 adepts. And I love kind of teaching, which is the next one, teaching and storytelling. I love finding ways of taking something that's complex and finding the best way of sharing that with other people so they can easily grasp and understand it.
Yeah.
I've been a storyteller in many different formats, taking something complex and finding that way to communicate it. And I think that over time has turned into my passion for YouTube and content creation.
Yeah, that's really so important.
Yeah, so it all comes together there. Leadership is something you spoke about. It's something that's always been natural to me. As a kid, I would be voted leader for anything we were doing. And I love it. And it's something I definitely want to be part of my life moving forward. I love having a team. I'm very social. I do work remotely. But even remotely, I'm very good at getting people to come together and grow and be the best versions of themselves.
Yes.
I'm going to skip to the other side, what the world needs. What are some of the things I want to contribute towards? But I always struggle with this one. And this one's probably the one that feels least true of all of the circles, least baked.
Okay.
So happiness and purpose, that's probably true. I really care about that. That's what I've been talking about with the YouTube channel, Reinventing Ken. And it's always been a topic for me. I would like for people to find happiness and purpose in their lives.
Yeah.
And if that's something I can contribute towards, I think the world would be a better place.
That's great.
Then we have meaningful lives post AI. And I worry about what's life going to be when people don't have work. Will they have meaningful, purposeful lives? How will they have money, universal income?
Yeah.
I think this is going to be problematic. And if I can contribute towards it, maybe that's a good thing. And then finally, better leadership. I feel like leadership at best is average. I feel like there's so much we could help people with to become better leaders, better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And that would benefit others around them as well.
Yeah.
And this with my leadership experience, my passion for leadership, I think could be another way I can contribute to the world. Okay, so those are the top 3 circles. Now we're going to go, what can I get paid for? And this is where I'm going to ask you for some brainstorming, connecting the dots. I got founder here. I could start something. I could build a team. I don't think I want to be a freelancer working by myself because I get lonely. I'm an extrovert and I enjoy having people around me, people who inspire me and people I can inspire. I can be a leader in a company I found or a company that exists. I've worked in both small and large companies, lots of startup experience, but I've also been at GE and Accenture, some of the global ones. And I don't mind. I'm happy in corporate and I'm happy in startup.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I like the leadership aspect of it.
Yeah.
I could be a coach or a mentor. I could be a teacher. And I think with teacher, that's probably not like a high school teacher teaching math, but I could run a learning and development organization and a company, or I could teach through my content or through other forums. I could be a content creator. I think they're connected. I wouldn't know how to make money from it yet, but this is an experiment.
Yeah.
And I've added from a previous conversation here, consultant. I've been a management consultant for many years. And that's nothing I'm opposed to. It would just have to connect the right dots to be valuable. Okay, so now that you've seen this, before we start, do you have any questions?
I'm familiar with this Ikigai framework, so I think I understand it. I mean, I probably, if I had questions, want to go deeper into some of the things that you've put here, which I'm sure is part of this.
Go for it, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I was just intrigued by, the meaningful lives post AI that you've kind of put in parentheses.
Okay.
Just as an interesting, how you're kind of thinking maybe you scratch it out, but that was a thing, and then you put a parentheses around it and you came from AI. So that's just, given what's going on right now in the world, I would think that you wouldn't scratch it out. But I'm curious, why would you scratch it out? That's a question. And then, probably lots of other things as it relates to kind of the teaching and storytelling, and how, because that seems to be like a pattern based on what you've told me in our conversations, that's really important to you.
Yeah.
And
so I would put
I put a star on that one.
Yeah.
So I would just, off the top of my head, those are two kind of points of interest there.
Let me talk a little about this one first, and then we can go into that. So one of the beautiful things I find with the Ikigai is that when I share it out loud and I have to talk about it, I become more honest. Like when you write it, you might be writing things that aren't fully authentic and fully true, just because you expect the world to want to hear that. And the same with Meaningful Lives post AI. 9 months ago, when I quit my job at Ultimate Beauty, an e-commerce company, I did my Ikigai. I was trying to figure out, like, what do I want to contribute towards? AI was getting more and more popular.
Yeah.
And I felt like maybe I had kind of missed previous waves of technology. And like, this is one I could jump on. I got very excited about it. But now that I go deeper and when I talk about it, it's like, I'm still excited about AI. But am I really excited about meaningful lives past AI, or is that just something I made up? I'm not sure. So the AI consultancy I started, Future.org, started that with my experience from being head of people. And I was like, how can we build humane organizations that can integrate AI? And I wanted to help companies learn maybe how to put AI agents inside of their company. So I built a company around it, and I didn't love it. Like, I did it for 6 weeks. I had this process where I build companies in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And after 6 weeks, I felt like I was just spending my time on LinkedIn and not actually out there building the products I wanted to be building. So maybe I was doing it in the wrong way. Maybe there's still something there. Maybe I got burned from the experience. But as I talk about this, I light up when I talk about happiness and purpose. I light up when I talk about better leadership. But this doesn't feel as authentic. And teaching and storytelling, like, what do you want to know?
Well, yeah, I would love to hear more about how you, like, why are you passionate about that? What gets you excited about teaching and storytelling specifically?
Cool. So during the last 9 months, I've been reflecting a lot. Did the YouTube channel Reinventing Ken, which is really about going deep on who I am and what I want to do when I grow up, next time I grow up. And I stumbled upon this concept called Dharma, which comes from Hinduism and Buddhism. And it basically says we're all born with a purpose in life. And we're giving a set of natural abilities to help find that purpose. And we have those abilities as a kid, which is why I was asking you about what were you good at when you were 5. But then we forget. We live our lives and we get influenced by our parents and school and what's cool growing up. And I thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was the coolest thing you could be when I grew up. So I became one and I became successful at it. But it was never natural to me. So I'm reading about Dharma and I'm reading books about it. And I found this framework by Sahara Rose. There's 9 different archetypes, profiles you can have. And I read through them. They could be entrepreneur, they could be warrior or caretaker. But there was also teacher and missionary. And they're obviously described. There's a test you can take online. And my profile, according to all this, is teacher/visionary. It's not entrepreneur, even though that's what I want. That's what my ego wants. Whenever we get into teaching, I light up.
Yeah.
Like it's my true natural ability. I'm probably related to my purpose. And if you look across my career, whatever I've been doing, there's been elements of teaching. Even though I've never thought of myself as a teacher, I do it, and I do it so naturally. And I think that's why it's come up here for the first time. Previously, I think I wouldn't even want to admit it, because growing up for me, teacher was maybe a low-class job. It's one of the most important jobs that are out there, but I never saw it as cool. But I realized in my soul, it's who I am. And now knowing that, the question is, okay, what can I use it for? How can I integrate that in my life and my work and my purpose and what the world needs? And so I think that's where that comes from. The storytelling part is probably more of a tool. But I think because of my passion for teaching, I've become very good at storytelling. And I've done that through multiple mediums. So maybe they should be split. Maybe they shouldn't be one point, but it's an ability that I've built based on this natural ability for teaching.
Yeah, it's so important, and it's so powerful, and it's very scalable, and obviously when content side and just getting a message out, sharing.
All right, so now we're going to tap into your life, your experience, your networks, your thoughts. This is me, right? In its simplest form. What should I do? What should I focus on? What should I learn? Who should I be talking to? How can I turn this into a meaningful life?
I think that like the world and society is really changing and transforming. I feel it. I feel it all around me right now. And I think the question that you're asking is a question that a lot of people are asking themselves. Right? It's really important to, as in my point of view, as you're thinking about this, to kind of be like water, right? Like meaning, be flexible to maybe what you do, and maybe how you do it, and really think about, if you could do anything, what would you do? Meaning, what are you doing right now? And really, I think one kind of framework that I use is, forget about what a job, or don't classify it in maybe those terms. But what is it that you like enjoy doing? What do you do naturally anyway? What is that? And for me, we're in this scenario here, the 50 lunches, right? Which is great. I think it's amazing. And the fact that you have put this together and you're passionate about and doing it, this seems like one of those things that a lot of people may or may not do, right? Depending on what their proclivity is, right? And so you kind of want to do what to you is play, right? You've heard this probably before, like for if something is fun for you and it's play for you and it seems like work to other people, then that's what you should do. Do that, because for you it's something that you enjoy. And so as you're thinking about like what is it that you do, I think you got to think about like, how do you play, or how do you enjoy? What would that be? What is that? Some of those things are potentially roles in an organization or job per se, right? Or things that you might create yourself, kind of push out there, which you're obviously already doing in this format.
Okay. I love that. I love that question. And I love it as a framework.
Yeah.
But let's get more specific. I'm going to use your lens and your perspectives on this. How do I monetize it? What roles are out there? What jobs could it be? What ideas do you have when you see this?
More specifically, I would say that the creator part, where you're creating content, you might use AI to do that, but then more specifically getting into just agent. I think 2 areas of focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Love it. I got some good notes. I got some good ideas. Final question.
Yeah.
We should never say final question because there's always follow-ups. Who is one person I should be talking to? Now that you've seen this, now that you know a little more who I am, what is it I don't know, and who should I be having the next conversation with?
There's a guy who I think is really interesting in the world of the content creation. And he's done a lot of interesting things. He has a channel, which I'm sure you're familiar with, called Nas Daily. I think he has like 50 million followers across all of his networks. I just think of him because I think he's dynamic. He's very global. I think that like a lot of this stuff that he's doing and the content he's creating also kind of digs into some of these themes, personal development and learning and growing, and the world is such a interesting place. He does a lot of content on places, and I think it all really kind of matches a lot of things that you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. I will follow up with you after this to get an introduction to this guy and maybe other people you think of, and start scheduling the next ones.
Sure.
So I think with that, the only thing to say is thank you so much for being part of this.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. And it's always a pleasure, and really, really enjoyed your questions and, learning more about your passions and interests, and seeing how all of this unfolds. So excited. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Hrish.
Appreciate it.